everyone, and thank you for watching the second of 4 conversations with practitioners about the What Works Clearinghouse Practice Guide on Effective Advising for Post-Secondary Students. This Practitioners' Perspectives video series is designed to bring in practitioners from the field to discuss their on-the-ground experience in implementing the Practice Guide recommendations. My name is Yifeng Chang, and I am a researcher at Apt Associates and the Deputy Project Director of the What Works Clearinghouse Post-Secondary Contract, which is funded by IES. Today, I'm joined by Donna Linderman, who is one of the expert panel members who helped to develop the practice guide, and 3 expert practitioners who will talk about recommendation 2. Donna Linderman is Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at the City University of New York. In this role, she oversees university-wide programs designed to support the academic preparation and degree success of CUNY students, including the Accelerated Study in Associate Programs, known as ASAP, Accelerate, Complete, and Engage, or ACE, CUNY Start and Math Start, CUNY Edge, CUNY Literacy and Language Programs, and the Fostering College Success Initiative. Nadine Brown is the Director of the Accelerated Studies in Associate Programs at Bronx Community College. She began her career as an advisor and now oversees one of CUNY's largest ASAP programs. She has 20 years of experience in developing, planning, and executing successful strategic initiatives in the area of student enrollment, persistence, retention, and completion. She has held leadership positions and served on several university committees that included Middle States Accreditation, Institutional Periodic Review, Collaborative Improvement Council, Title V, Academic Advisement Council, and Program Assessment. Marianne Salazar is Associate Director of CUNY Start at Hostos Community College. At CUNY, Marianne has worked on the professional development team, providing training and professional development across all the CUNY Start partner colleges. She has over 10 years of experience in advising, career development, and mental health. And last but not least, Tracy Robinson is the Director of Innovative Academic Initiatives at the University of Memphis. In this role, she coordinates credit for prior learning and directs the Finish Line program, a degree completion initiative that re-recruits students who earned at least 90 credit hours but left college before earning their degree. She has 20 years of experience working in advising and was selected as a Complete College America Fellow in 2018 and Council for Adult and Experiential Learning Ambassador in 2020. So welcome to our guests, and thank you so much for joining us today. Before I turn the time over to our experts, I want to briefly introduce Recommendation 2 and its evidence rating. The second recommendation in the practice guide is to transform advising to focus on the development of sustained personal relationships with individual students throughout their college career. The What Works Clearinghouse team and the expert panel assigned Recommendation 2 a strong level of evidence, which means that there is consistent evidence that meets What Works Clearinghouse standards of evidence and indicates that the practice improves student outcomes for a diverse population of students. This rating was based on 10 studies of interventions that involved sustained, personalized advising relationships implemented with post-secondary students in the United States. 7 out of the 10 studies meet What Works Clearinghouse group design standards without reservations, and the other 3 meet What Works Clearinghouse group design standards with reservations. The evidence from these 10 studies provides a direct test of the recommendation, as the interventions involve sustained, personalized advising relationships in 5 different ways. For example, in some of the studies, advisors or coaches had access to data from progress monitoring or early warning systems, allowing them to proactively reach out to students in need of academic and non-academic supports. In other studies, interventions paired students with the same advisor for the duration of their participation in the program. They increased the frequency of advisor-student interactions by granting students priority access to schedule appointments with their advisor. They offered social and emotional support in addition to academic support, and they assigned advisors smaller caseloads to allow them to spend more time meeting with their students. For each recommendation, the practice guide provides details about the recommended practice, including how the panel arrived at the level of evidence rating, guidance about how to carry out the recommendation, potential obstacles and solutions, and tools and resources to support carrying out the recommendation. The practice guide offers 6 steps on how to carry out recommendation 2. The first step is to meet students where they are developmentally and recognize their individual needs, which will differ depending on their background, such as age, gender, race or ethnicity, their lived experiences, and educational goals. And as a result, advising can vary in frequency, duration, and topics discussed. The second step is to design an advising model that enables individual students to have a sustained relationship with their advisor. Advisors should start building a relationship with students early on in their college experience and stay engaged with each student until they meet their educational goals. Part of this is setting up each advisor with smaller caseloads to allow them to meet with students more often and for a longer period of time. The third step is to implement strategies that make advising visible and accessible, such as adopting flexible work hours so advisors can be available to students when they are free, such as nights or weekends, holding remote meetings through video communication tools, and integrating advising into academic activities and social events. Step 4 is to provide professional development opportunities for advisors, taking into account their learning needs. The next step is to use technology and data to promote efficient, individualized advising. Technology tools such as early alert or warning systems can be used to flag students in need of immediate, intensive support and identify students for which a lighter touch could be sufficient. And the final step is to continuously monitor student progress toward their educational goals. Here again, technology tools can be useful for monitoring student progress and highlight areas for improvement in student supports. And with all that said, I am now going to turn the presentation over to Donna, who will moderate a discussion with our guest practitioners.
Thanks, Yvonne. I'm excited to be here today with Nadine, Marianne, and Tracy. Each lead work in highly successful programs that have been nationally recognized and have personalized sustained advisement at the center of their practice. So I'd like to briefly reintroduce the programs just to provide context for our audience. ASAP is a comprehensive associate completion program serving 25,000 students at the City University of New York and now being replicated in 5 states. CUNY START is an intensive 1-semester intervention targeting students with significant developmental education needs that helps students address those needs and prepare for their degree coursework before they matriculate. And finally, Finish Line is a degree completion program for students at the University of Memphis who have reached senior status but stopped attending before graduating. And since 2013, over 800 students have returned and graduated. So I'd like to start our conversation out with how-to step number 2, which is about designing an advising model that enables individual students to have a sustained relationship with their advisor. Each of your programs implement this step in different ways. So can each of you speak to how your programs and your models promote a sustained relationship with an advisor over a student's college career? And please also talk a little bit about the benefits this provides to both students and advisors. Nadine, let's start with you.
Sure. ASAP is broadly targeted to lower income first-time freshman students who intend to study full-time at the community college. An advisor is assigned to each student at time of entry when a student enrolls, and this advisor will work with the student for 3 full years through to graduation. Because of this, a rapport is developed and sustained throughout. We also offer intentional intrusive advisement, which means we require students to meet with their advisor several times per semester. During these sessions, we work on skill development and strategies in terms of student success. We also use block scheduling to promote this connectivity. We have observed many benefits from this consistent structure for students, as we can realize and zero in on what is possible for students by having these long-term relationships. We know that students' goals may change as they progress through college. For students to be able to have sustained relationship With one designated advisor throughout this journey, it is beneficial for both the student and the advisor.
Great. Thanks, Nadine. Marianne, how about you?
CUNY Start is a one-semester program that serves students who are in need of developmental education in English and math to help prepare them for college-level coursework. Students are assigned an advisor for that entire semester. During CUNY Start, students attend weekly seminar courses in a group setting with their advisors. These seminar courses, which are integrated into their program in addition to the developmental education, cover a range of topics such as career exploration, college identity, and matriculation. The seminar is taught by advisors, which gives students weekly access to their advisors. Before they complete the semester, CUNY Start advisors actively connect students to other supportive programs at the college to foster that sustained approach to advisement. Connecting students to the other supportive programs prior to the end of the semester allows for a seamless and integrated transition for students to connect with supportive programs that will provide them with a long-term and consistent advisement once they complete the CUNY Start program.
Great, thank you. And Tracy, how about you?
Thanks, Donna. The Finish Line, as you mentioned, does work with students who are coming back to finish their degree. So these adult learners may be completing one course or several courses, but our advisors really take on the role of completion concierge. We work with the students from the time that they're re-recruited back to the institution until the time of graduation. So many times with these adult learners, we find that they don't always know the higher education language and requirements. So we tell them from the beginning, you know, we're your people. We're the ones that are going to help connect you to the resources that you need to complete your degree. You know, much like a concierge at a hotel. So come back to us, ask us questions. The institution benefits because the students have this one-on-one relationship with an expert in their degree completion path. We are their advisor, their coach, their advocate, and the student can focus on doing the work in the classroom while we worry about all the navigation and the paperwork that supports them through that one last class they need to graduate or through a few classes they need to graduate.
Thank you. Thank you all. That was really powerful. And thank you also for reiterating the target populations that your programs serve. So the first how-to step for this recommendation suggests that institutions should meet students where they are developmentally and recognize their needs. The programs you all lead are designed for specific populations of students. Can you each describe the components of your programs that enable you to meet students where they are? And Tracy, let's start with you this time.
Yes, so we find so often that our adult learners are trying to find time to meet and talk to their advisor along with working full-time and taking care of kids and family. So one of the first questions that we ask our students is really, how can we support you? So instead of telling them, you know, here are the times that we are available to talk to you, we ask the student, we flip that and say, you know, how do you want to be supported? Would you like to meet with us via Zoom every 2 weeks? Would you like to be supported via a text message as a check-in every 2 weeks? Is it different for you if we meet on a Wednesday at 5:30 instead of just 8 to 5, or those kind of things? So we base everything on their availability. We also check in with weekly emails, with Zoom sessions. We may develop a checklist together. So it looks different for every student, but it starts off with, how can I support you logistically, and how does that make sense for everything that you are balancing in your schedule? We also focus on teaching our adult learners the language of higher education so that they feel comfortable coming to us and coming back and asking questions.
Great. Thank you so much. Marianne, how about within CUNY Start?
So the students in CUNY Start all come in because they have developmental needs in English and math. Every campus has a different referral process. However, for the most part, the students come from admissions or freshman academic advising. Every student referred to CUNY Start meets with an advisor one-on-one and go through an intake process. During the intake, the advisor gauges on the student needs and tries to really get an idea of what type of support services the students may need at the start and at the end of CUNY Start and beyond CUNY Start. So they talk about academic needs, but also professional and or social emotional needs. The advisor usually assesses or gauges the students' needs within the first few weeks and help to connect students with the other supportive offices. Students who are eligible or in need start to receive accommodations and or supportive services while working on their developmental classes with CUNY Start. A unique part of the intake is that we ask students about the relationship with their subjects, math and English. We want some insight about their struggles in the past to figure out why they've struggled with math and or English. If they've had a tense or fearful relationship with a subject in the past, we really want to understand how we can help them to be more successful. Our advisors pass this information on to the instructors so they can see where their students are coming from. In addition, during the intake, our advisors also talk about career goals and majors so students can think about what success looks like in the CUNY Start program and beyond CUNY Start. So when they move on after our program, we can connect them to other offices before they begin the next semester. For example, we'll make sure to connect students to attend an ASAP orientation or any additional information sessions on campus as they prepare to matriculate.
Great. Nadine, how about you?
Sure. In ASAP, we provide early engagement and a streamlined onboarding process for all new students. That encompasses a new student welcome in addition to the institutional student orientation. It's during these sessions that we offer success strategies to students, and we introduce students to an abundance of resources that exist on our campus, as well as connecting them with what their needs are. In addition to that, we assigned a temporary advisor to help students at the beginning to get them through to the enrollment process. As part of our intake process, we ask questions not only about the major that they're interested in, but we also ask about early intervention resources that they might need for a successful start. We then connect them to those respective support areas in order to achieve success upon entry. We also try to identify student needs early, which includes determining student support services received in high school to help students with a comfortable transition from high school to college. One of the other things that we do is we offer information sessions in partnership with pre-collegiate programs that students were participants of, and again, meeting students where they are and helping them make a smooth transition to college.
Great. Thank you all so much. Now, the third how-to step suggests that institutions should implement strategies that make advising visible and accessible. Now, in all three of your programs, advising is not an add-on. In other words, it's not an optional service. It's a fully integrated aspect of your models. So what are some of the strategies that make advising visible and accessible within your programs? Marianne, let's start with you this time.
Of course. In CUNY Start, advisors are very present to students in that first semester. First, seminars are built into the student's schedule and they're led by the advisors. This sends the message that advising is available and it's important. Second, advisors also sit in and observe the academic classes to better understand how to support the students. This sends the message of, I'm here to support you. I want to get a sense of what's going on so I can help you validate your emotions, your experience, or work through your struggles. All new advisors conduct classroom observations also and have conversations with students about when they're available to connect, such as meeting with students during lunch or before or after class. This provides students with multiple opportunities to meet and engage with their advisors.
Great, thank you. Tracy, how about in Finish Line?
We are really lucky that our administration and campus views academic advising as an important retention and graduation tool. So advising has really elevated status at the University of Memphis, and this is something that we've kind of evolved to over the last few years. Whether it's a yard sign around campus or online weekly news digests that are sending students reminders about checking in with their advisor, we really see this advising relationship as normalized to be constant, consistent, and sustained, not just at the registration times. All of the colleges on our campus have student success teams that include advisors, faculty, staff who work together to meet the unique needs of those students in that particular area. So it may be that this group organizes an open house or drop-in advising times where students can come and talk to a person or virtually, if it's an online student, to get a quick question answered or get assistance. The student success teams may also coordinate a text or email outreach campaign to students during challenging times of the semesters, or promoting a specific resource like career counseling or an upcoming internship fair. So we've really established the pathways that there's a direct connection to advisors for our students from the time that they are admitted to the institution, or in some cases in the pre-admission stage. So it's just a part of our university culture to talk about the advisor as the direct and best connection to students, and everybody views it that way.
Great, thank you. Nadine, how about within ASAP?
Advisement is at the center of the ASAP model. Our advisors are like coaches. In ASAP, all things essentially go through the advisor, which is how we make advising visible. We emphasize to students that they are in partnership with their advisor through their college journey, and students are required to meet with their advisors a certain number of times each semester. The advisor can help connect students to other resources, either through referrals or actually direct connections with the student and support area. We instill in students that this is your person to get you through your degree completion. This is who you should communicate with. The advisor becomes the core of the student success network, and the career specialists and retention specialists are seen as extensions to the advisors in our program. There are multiple ways that advisors make themselves available to students, either one-on-one, small groups, workshops, peer mentor co-facilitated workshops, and through multiple formats, which include face-to-face, email, phone, and virtual. We are trying to expand the ways in which we connect with our students and meeting them where they are through flexible and meeting their needs.
Terrific. So let's switch gears for a second and talk about technology and how your programs are using technology to either inform individual advisors' work or to promote more efficient advising. So Nadine, circling back to you, I know CUNY ASAP has a very robust data management system. Can you tell us how that is used for your advisors?
Sure. We definitely use a number of systems, which includes an institutional tracking system called Starfish. This system is used for caseload management, where students can make appointments with their advisors, gain access, and communicate with their success network, and where appointment outcomes and referrals are made. Advisors are able to filter students by level of engagement and monitor factors like withdrawals, contact rates, GPA for at-risk students, and students who are nearing graduation. Advisors can also send out targeted messages to students who are not engaged or who might benefit from some outreach. We also utilize a system called QList, where students may sign up for on-demand advisement, which allows for students to monitor the time it takes to be connected with an advisor. We also have a system which is birthed out of our central office called ASAP-I that we also use for caseload management. Advisors can track student engagement, progress, performance, and status. It also serves as a reporting system that provides the ability to run programmatic reports that inform improvement and assist with identifying student needs, and is used by our central office for evaluation purposes. Particularly during COVID, we have increased the use of Zoom advising sessions to try to replicate the services and the quality of services that we provided on campus. We have also adopted a two-way text messaging system platform called Signalvine to expand the reach to our students. This allows us to send prompts and calls to action. We even include growth mindset information to help students as well.
Thanks, Nadine. Tracy, how about on your end?
Yes, we use so many of the same systems and programs that Nadine mentioned. We try to make it as simple as possible for our students to connect to our advisors. For example, we have links in our email signatures to our appointment calendar. So it's very easy for a student to click on that, whether they're needing an advising appointment for registration, or if they've just got a question that we're not getting to the direct answer to through that email communication. So we're available to them in that way. We also have so many online students, and so it's important that we have customized our services, even our online sessions, specifically for our online students, because we want to make sure that they feel like they are getting the best use of the services as if they were on our campus. So we use a lot of Zoom, even pre-pandemic. Before that, like Nadine, we have a two-way texting campaign that we use and see a lot of great benefits from that. So if there's an important time in the semester where we're looking for a response back from the student, our advisors can send a quick email or text campaign and have them respond back. Press 1 if you need an appointment, press 2 if you want to call back. Very simple communications like that. And it makes it seem like it's a personal communication back to that student from the advisor. But obviously, a lot of students are getting that at one time with one push of a button from the advisor. We also use a lot of technology for tracking and connecting back to students using our early alert system. We found that to be really powerful. Everything that is submitted through early alerts not only goes back to the faculty member or to the tutoring center, for example, it comes back to that advisor as well. So if we're having an advising appointment with a student, we can say, oh, I see that you're having an early alert in so-and-so's class. Let's talk about how we can work together to get back on track. So using that technology really helps us manage large caseloads at the University of Memphis as needed.
Great. Marianne, how about within CUNY Start?
So within CUNY Start, we also employed Zoom for virtual advisement hours. Some advisors will have a Zoom room open for students where they can just pop in to chat with an advisor, check in or debrief about their classes or anything going on. Some advisors will also go into the end of an academic Zoom class session and stay for 15 to 30 minutes to check in with students or discuss any follow-up items related to seminar, matriculation, or just with their current classes. In addition to Zoom, advisors also use Google Voice for one-on-one check-ins, and they also use messaging or texting. We have found that students usually open up more quickly when it comes to text messaging or just messaging. And these are just a few ways that we've used technology to enhance or sustain our advisement practices during the pandemic.
Great. Thank you all so much for the insights on the role of technology in your programs, especially during the pandemic. So finally, one very important how-to step is about providing professional development opportunities for advisors, particularly to help them develop deeper and more sustained relationships with students. So can each of you tell us about how your programs support advisors in terms of initial training and ongoing professional development? So Marianne, since you have led professional development for advisors in CUNY Start, let's start with you.
Yes, so at CUNY Start, advisors go through a co-op model, what we call the co-op model. So new advisors are paired with a senior advisor or a campus trainer, which is also an advisor with a number of years or experience with the CUNY Start model and approach. And the new advisors will shadow that individual for one semester, and they ideally will also have shared caseloads. The idea of this is not to throw a new advisor into a cohort without knowing about the CUNY Start model or approach. The new advisors will shadow the lead advisor or campus training while sitting on one-on-one sessions with students. Also, they will observe and also shadow the lead advisor training during the seminar classes. During this semester-long training, they both shadow senior staff and can also receive one-on-one support and feedback. They also receive professional development from the Central CUNY START office. Advisors undergo focused trainings on topics such as the use of questioning in advisement and how to use the best practices to support students as it relates to social emotional development and well-being. They also go through training on trauma-informed practices, curriculum development for the weekly taught seminar classes, and more.
Thank you. Nadine, how about with an ASAP?
Sure. ASAP has a pretty robust training setup. The central office, ASAP, along with our college-based program, we provide an initial and ongoing training. The initial 2-week training provided locally is really focused on the fidelity of programming, advisement theory, and implementation, as well as the use of programmatic and institutional systems and databases. There's also shadowing and partnerships with senior and veteran advisors. Ongoing training oftentimes is self-requested or also identified by advisement supervisors. So for example, we just conducted a training on emotional intelligence and on trauma-informed approaches. This provided training on responses to student stress and anxiety and when to make referrals. We continue to assess and provide technical training as needed, and needs are determined during one-on-one meetings that advisors have with their supervisors on a monthly basis. Overall, we're keeping an eye on the needs of the group and individual advisors at all times.
Thank you. And Tracy, finally, how about at Memphis?
Yes, we have obviously that initial training, but we also really have an emphasis on sustained professional development for our advisors. We have a monthly academic advising network where our faculty and professional advisors meet to talk about a number of topics. So it could be changes in curriculum. It could be keeping up with the news on campus. There's also some social engagements where we have an ice cream social when we come back in the fall to welcome everybody back and make connections to new and former advisors. We also have, a great supportive network for activities and professional associations. So whether that's attending conferences or webinars, some of the two main associations that we focus on with our adult learners in the Finish Line program include NACADA, which is the National Academic Advising Association, but also CALE, the Council on Adult and Experiential Learning, since that caters specifically to our adult population.
Wow, so such amazing, thoughtful work. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, Nadine, Marianne, and Tracy. It really is terrific to see how each of your programs has demonstrated the power of sustained personalized advisement to serve students at various stages of their higher education journeys. I'm just so impressed by the thoughtfulness of your practice that you provide to your students, and also the integrated use of data and the strong focus on continual improvement and addressing staff training needs. So congratulations to all of you and your colleagues on your great work. So at this time, I'm going to turn the presentation back to Yifeng.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Before I close out the video, I want to thank Donna, Nadine, Mary Ann, and Tracy for being so generous with their time and expertise. I've read a lot about your programs, but hearing you speak about them, especially about the components of the advising programs that make them unique, really brings your programs to life. So you've given me and our viewers a lot of ideas to think about when implementing these how-to steps. So thank you all so very much. To our viewers, the practice guide on effective advising for post-secondary students can be accessed through the What Works Clearinghouse website. We will continue the conversation in the next Practitioners' Perspectives video series on Recommendation 3, which will be moderated by practice guide panel member Sarah Ackerson. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to Donna. Her email address is on the slide. And thank you again to our panelists and our viewers. We really hope to see you in the next video. Thanks, everyone.